What's up, everybody?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
What's up?
Morning.
Morning. I can blur my backgrounds. There we go. Better.
Good morning.
Morning. Hope everyone had a great weekend.
It was good.
Beautiful weekend.
Good.
Can't beat this early spring weather except the pollen, but hey. Living in North Carolina has a lot of positives and pollen's not one of them.
Yeah, I'll say. I was sneezing like crazy this weekend, but the weather was terrific.
Yes, can't beat it.
Yeah, I was too. Sneezing in places I shouldn't be. People probably thought I was sick.
I'm on that 3 Zyrtec a day regimen right now, so
Yeah. I'm hitting Walgreens after this call. I'm out.
there you go.
Smart. I need to get back on that train. I've been taking medicine for years. I thought, well, I'll give it a season where I take none and see if I can't get a little more immune or something. And it did help a little bit. It was pretty bad. It was rougher for a time period, but now I feel a little less, I don't know. Maybe I'm growing out of it too. I don't know, but been taking my whole life and it stinks, hate taking medicine.
Yeah, I take a allergy medicine every night, like pretty much all year, just to keep anything at bay. But you're right, it's probably one of those things where like the immune system is not responding well to it. So I should probably try to kick that habit and get on the local honey regimen or something.
Yeah, that's what everyone says, right? It's a good idea.
Yep. So how's everyone doing? I feel like everyone's been just like kicking butt lately. I've seen a lot of activity on social media. I haven't been on one of these calls in a while, so glad to be here.
Glad you're here. Yeah, I mean, I can go down the list, but Jimmy's working on a 1031 opportunity. Jeff and Robert have couple of new listings that they got through Reonomy. Josh has got a commercial deal he's going live with soon. Angel is killing it in San Antonio. Javens has some great closings. Tyler's getting things started. Grant's closed a bunch of deals in the last month. I mean, I know you're killing it too, Mary Allison. Freaking Wes is killing it as always. I mean, I'm proud of everybody on this call, but yeah, it's amazing. I mean, hard work pays off, right?
Yeah, for sure. Congrats, everybody. It's awesome to hear.
Yeah, I'm proud of everybody. Hey, good morning, Wes. How are we looking on YouTube Live? Are we live?
Good. We're live.
All right.
Yep. We are good.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the CReXperts Q&A. And we also use it as an opportunity to talk about the market and opportunities, deals. Basically, we never know where it's going to go, but, we can talk about the very basics of commercial real estate brokerage or investing, very basics of market, or we can get as deep as we want to dive. I really leave it up to all of you to come up with questions and topics. I always have a few of my own if not. But yeah, I want to open up the floor to anyone who has any questions or thoughts or situations or opportunities they want to bring to the table so we can all brainstorm and learn from each other. Don't be shy.
So I haven't got anything in particular, but just curious to kind of hear how everyone's prospecting has been going. I know for a while there, it was like a big focus on like industrial, primarily multifamily, and then like self-storage. And I just wanted to see if over the last few months since, maybe beginning of fall, if anyone has seen a shift at all back towards any office or retail focus, just out of curiosity. I know I've seen a couple people working on medical office, which is always great, but I know I've personally seen a big shift in people going back to the office and a lot more activity on the office side. So just kind of curious to hear everyone's input on that.
Jeff, if I know I saw your mouse moving, but I didn't know if you're mute or not. But Jeff's had great success and Robert recently on prospect. You want to share?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thanks, Clifford. Yeah, I certainly don't see. I think there is still a very, very strong hunger and need, at least on the industrial side. Mary Alice, I don't do so much on the retail, but just from being out there. I've been coming across just an endless need for industrial. I've gone to some places really off the beaten path. Sort of those, everyone, like those corrugated type of metal buildings that are kind of like on some gravel road that you probably have driven by like 13 times before discovering it. Places like that, and then you knock on the door and realize that they've had a number of off-market things proposed to them. So there's definitely a lot of people really putting scrutiny and things on those types of assets. So that's going particularly strong. Just on the prospecting side, like Robert Spivey and I have been teaming up a lot, and we haven't really done anything out of the ordinary in terms of inventing new methods. We've just been knocking on doors. We've done a few drop letters where we've gotten some bites. Making phone calls. I guess, and I mentioned this in the last call, I guess if anything I've done a little bit differently, this is actually going in more an old-fashioned route. I've actually been putting a letter in an envelope and putting an actual U.S. postage stamp on it and dropping it in the mail. And that's getting a lot of attention with all the emails and texts and other just electronic ways of getting a hold of people. Just actually getting something in the mail with a real postage stamp on it and a handwritten envelope really stands out. I notice when I get the mail at home, if I get something like that, that certainly gets the top of the pile. I ignore most other things. So I've been doing that. I've been getting some bites on that, but the thirst for industrial, at least that asset, is very, very strong right now. So that's my take.
Yeah, it's funny how the old school methodologies are now the ones that are successful. It's all coming back full circle. We're so inundated with virtual communication that it's like way too much. We can't keep up with it. So
yeah,
a little
I got those
piece of paper in the mail is more impactful. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and a catchy stamp too. I got the Star Wars edition, So when somebody sees a postage stamp with C-3PO on it, I mean, how can they not open that up? How can they not open up the letter? So
that is a pro tip, Jeff. Got to get a personalized stamp. I love that.
Get those Star Wars stamps, everyone. Go to your local post office and support them.
Hey, thank you, Jeff. But Mary Allison, great point. I would say that in a day, I will check emails, text messages, WhatsApp, Instagram messages, Facebook messages, TikTok messages. What am I missing? There's like 6 things I'm missing. It's crazy.
Your phone, just your phone ringing, right? That too.
Ringing, right? And it can get lost in the shuffle. So it is kind of nice to, send a letter. I think that's great. Speaking of office and retail, I know that Dominique, who focuses a lot on retail in the company, she's closed some really good retail deals in the past few months. So that's been good to see. If anyone else has any retail deals, please share. I know that in the firm in the last 6 months, we've did some huge office leases, a couple. One in particular I think of is Lone Pronto. They took about 10,000 square feet. So I'd say that it's definitely not, in my opinion, and I don't do, office and retail full time, but I do see the deals that go through the firm. I would say it's definitely not up to the levels of pre-pandemic. If anyone else has a take on that, let me know, but I'm not seeing closed deals at the rate that we were pre-pandemic. But yes, I am seeing industrial, multifamily, mini storage at a pretty high level. And vacant land, this is the hottest I've ever seen vacant land by far in my career. I mean, I used to stay away from it because it took so long, and the listing would sit there for 2 years before someone would show interest. And now it's like, yeah, I'll take that, vacant land listing in a heartbeat. So definitely intriguing. Wes reminded me, I do want to take a step back. We always want to take 4 or 5 minutes to do a broker spotlight. Who would like to take 4 or 5 minutes and talk about what market they're in, what types of deals they do, what works for them in their career, and some tips and tricks that they have for commercial brokers and anyone in commercial real estate. Someone feel free to take the reins if they'd like.
All right, I'll go. Sorry, I'm not on video today, guys. The default photo I have is much more appealing than how I currently look. So I'm just going to be on audio. But so my name is Mary Allison York, and I have been in commercial brokerage for coming up on 4 years now, and almost 2 years with Blank Real Estate, which is crazy. That has absolutely flown by. So I got my career start in office tenant rep primarily, and that's really where I feel, most comfortable and effective as a broker. A lot of brokers I have found kind of look down on tenant rep a little bit, or don't look at it as lucrative as other types of brokerage. And I personally haven't necessarily found that in my career. Since joining with Blank, I started doing some more industrial and retail deals as well, again, primarily on the tenant rep side, which is great. And it's actually kind of served me well being the, tenant rep go-to in this firm where there's not a lot of folks who focus on tenant rep. So I have partnered with a lot of brokers on the team on different types of deals. And when I do have opportunities for sale listings or purchases, I always tend to bring in other members of the team and take advantage of everyone else's knowledge and specialty. I feel like we all get a lot farther together than we do alone. So right now I have one big national client on the tenant rep side, and I'm repping them in, right now, probably like 15 different deals or so. Did a big deal with them earlier this year here in Charlotte, and they keep me super busy, which is great. And I'm grateful for that for sure. But trying to not put all my eggs in one basket, if you will. So working with them primarily in office and industrial tenant rep in different markets for their branch facilities. So been busy with them, trying to keep them happy. And then also love working with small businesses, primarily in Charlotte. Seeing companies grow. I've had a couple repeat clients on the tenant rep side. Now that I'm coming up on 4 years, I've got some of those 2 and 3 year deals I signed back in the day coming back around, which has been really cool to see some of my clients growing and successful. And then I also really have enjoyed the retail side. It is a pain. I think it's the most difficult segment to broker deals in is the retail tenant rep side. Because it's competitive, it's expensive to open a space, deals don't pay as well. So take that for what it is, but it's also really cool to see your client, open a new med spa or a new bar or whatever it may be. So yeah, that's kind of what I focus on. I'm a little bit all over the place, but primarily tenant representation. So I know most of you know a lot of that, but for those of you who don't or who I haven't met, that's me, Mary Allison York. Thanks.
Hey, thank you for sharing. That's awesome. Also, I must add that her and her husband are entrepreneurs. They own a tiny home base camp. So definitely check that out if you're looking to Airbnb something in the mountains of North Carolina.
Yes, absolutely. And if anyone knows of any tiny homes for sale, let me know because I'm trying to grow my tiny home army.
How can someone find where to rent or Airbnb one of your tiny homes online? Where do they go?
Oh, yes. Probably the best place would be Instagram at Basecamp Tiny Homes. And I will drop that link here in the chat.
Awesome.
So we've got 2 tiny homes in Marion, North Carolina. It's a cool spot, great for a weekend getaway or work from home week, or whatever you like doing, close to hiking, biking, lakes, about 40 minutes from Asheville. So it's a great spot. It's kind of like our oasis, and my husband and I are up there quite a bit. We have another house on the property we stay in. So come stay. I'll give you a discount.
That's awesome. And and I want to bring that up so people can check it out and then hopefully book. But another reason is to show that a lot of us on here are entrepreneurs, and we have other business ventures that are centered around real estate mostly. And we help each other. We share posts, and we share with friends, and we tell other people about their, what they have going on. And we're one big family, and we really want to make sure that we're helping each other reach our financial goals and personal goals. And, I think it's great. I'm sure Mary Allison now is seeing the advantages of owning real estate for investment, right? Is a lot of tax savings to go against her earned income, being, an awesome commercial broker who makes a lot of commission every year. And then also the passive part, right? Depreciation, cost segregation, et cetera. So yeah, Mary Allison, thank you for sharing. Super proud of you. So glad you're part of this company and part of the family.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Clifford.
Awesome. That was great. And everyone check out the chat. And if you're on YouTube, it's at Base Camp Tiny Homes again. Check it out. But yeah, thank you for that broker spotlight. That was awesome. Every week, someone be prepared to share their story. Think about how it can help others and help yourself. So yeah, any other topics or discussions anyone's dying to bring up, or Wes, has anyone said anything on YouTube that we can discuss?
As of right now, we are all set on YouTube. No questions yet.
Cool. Sounds good. Anyone else have anything they'd like to bring up a topic? It can be market related. It can be as general question of, how does a commission work on getting paid on a commercial lease deal? It can be anything. Anyone have a topic?
Could you talk about how you get paid on a lease deal?
All right, sounds good. Hey, so basically, there is a lot of people think that you get paid like first month's rent or half month's rent for doing a commercial lease deal. And that's why I think a lot of people stay away from it, because they think that's not very lucrative. But I'm going to use a real life example to share how lucrative it can be. Basically, you are paid on the amount of base rent that someone pays throughout the entire length of the term of the lease that they sign. So easy math, let's just say someone's paying $10,000 a month in rent, and they sign a 10-year lease. It's a big deal. And let's assume no annual escalations just for ease. That's $120,000 a year times 10 is 1.2 million. If you get to pay 3% on 1.2 million gross value, then that's $36,000 in commission for a lease deal. So they can be very lucrative. There are people in our firm, including myself, that have signed lease deals that make over $100,000 in commission. I've done it a few times in my career, and they are very big leases. Either they're 80, 100,000 square feet of industrial for 7-10-year leases, or 10,000 square feet of office at $32 per square foot. for 7-10 years. I mean, that can be $100,000 check pretty quick. And so, yeah, you get paid on the gross lease amount for the amount of years that someone signs a lease. And so if there's a landlord that's only trying to pay you half a month's rent or a year's rent or something, or a month rent or something like that, then you potentially could really be getting ripped off. Now, if it's a month-to-month lease or a 3-month lease, then you're probably coming out ahead. Just do the math. But typically, if you're signing a 1-year plus lease, you're probably going to come out better taking a percentage of the gross rent than you are a half month or a full month. But of course, do the math. Take the base monthly rent. We don't get paid on the triple net part, the taxes, insurance, common area maintenance. We don't get paid on the pass-through expenses. We get paid on the base rent. So if the base rent is $20 per square foot and it's a 5,000 square foot space, that's what, $100,000 a year in rent. Is that right? Yeah. And so about whatever, $8,333 a month or something like that. You get paid on that $100,000, even if it's a 1-year lease but 3-year lease. You just multiply how much they pay over time and you get a percentage of that. Typically 50% is paid at lease signing and 50% is paid at rent commencement. So whenever you sign the lease, you send an invoice for half. Typically, sometimes you get all of it. And then the other half you get whenever their rent starts, because there may be a free rent period. Maybe they've got to do some upfit or construction to the space, and that takes a few months. Maybe you negotiate it because you're a really good broker that they get 3 months of free rent or 6 months of free rent. And so you don't get that other 50% typically until after that free rent period is up. So when you're doing a lease deal, you're always focused on the base rent, the expenses, how much free rent you can get someone, how much tenant improvement allowance you can get them, and annual escalations. Those are typically the negotiating points that you're getting paid to do the best you can for your client, be it on the landlord side or the tenant side. And honestly, leasing in commercial is low-hanging fruit. It really is. The best tenant rep brokers I know, like Mary Allison, who does a lot of it, primarily. They're on CoStar, they're on Reonomy, they're on all these platforms, seeing when tenants' leases are potentially running up, and then they're contacting those tenants and landlords and saying, "Hey, I think you're about to have a vacancy, landlord, or tenant. I see that your lease is coming up in a year. Have you outgrown your space? Is your space too big? Is it too little? Are you looking to relocate? Do you need it anymore?" And when you ask those questions to a tenant or a landlord, you typically get opportunities. So it's just like prospecting for listings where you're calling owners. You call tenants and ask them, "Hey, when's your lease up?" And some of them are going to say, "My lease ended up for 6 years." And you say, "Okay, well, how's the space working for you?" "Well, it's a little small." "Great, no problem. We can sublease your space and help you go find another space. So you pay me as a broker to find another tenant to take over your space and your terms, or majority of your terms, maybe not pay all of it, but close. And then we'll go find you somewhere else to lease. And then guess what? You just got paid twice. You got paid a sublease fee from the tenant, and then from a new landlord, hopefully you get paid a lease commission for finding them a new space. So there's all types of ways to make money in this industry. It's just, are you out there asking the right questions, and are you out there prospecting, and are you actually spending time to ask people 3 or 4 very important questions when you run into them? You could do this at your local barber shop. You could do this at your tire shop. You could do this anywhere. "Hey, can I speak to the general manager?" "Great. Hey, service was great. Love this place. When's your lease up?" And sometimes they're not going to know. You say, "No problem. I can wait. Just, or I'll call you back. When's your lease up?" "Great. In a year and a half." "Okay, great. Well, it looks like you're busting at the seams here. How would you like to relocate?" "Well, yeah, that we, probably make more money if we were in a better location, or, if we had a bigger shop or whatever." "Okay, good. Well, here's my card. Let's start looking at spaces and see if anything fits. And if it does, I can either sublease your space, or in a year and a half, in probably 7 months, we'll start the search and we'll find something that fits you. And then, when this expires, we'll get you moving into your new space. How does that sound? I mean, very few people on earth, that have a need are going to say, no way, forget you. They're going to want to see what's out there for free. Send them listings, send them deals, follow up. And there's opportunity everywhere. So just make sure when you're out and about, you're conscious. When's your lease up? Have you ever thought about selling your building? How's your business? Is your space or building working for you? Is it too big? Is it too small? Do you need another location? I mean, these are very simple questions that we could ask every single business owner or general manager in the world and drum up more business. If you're not doing this daily, then you're probably not going to reach your commercial real estate brokerage financial goals. Because we need to daily be asking people, do they want to sell? Do they want to buy? Do they want a sublease? Do they want a new lease? Do they want to move? Do they want another location? And if you're not asking those questions every day, you're probably not reaching your goals. So highly recommend that if you want to reach your goals as a commercial broker, that you ask those questions on the daily to the right people. Any questions from that or comments?
I had a question. So you mentioned something about subleasing. Now aren't some contracts or leases drawn up where there's not a sublease provision, or like they're not allowed to sublease the space? And how do you, I guess, figure that out?
Great question. All right, so run into this a lot, right? And so in North Carolina, especially, there's some other states in different situations. The lease should read that the landlord cannot unreasonably withhold you from subleasing. Unreasonably withhold. What does that mean? And I'm not an attorney, so consult an attorney. But typically what I find that to mean is that if you market the space for sublease and you find a business that fits the zoning and is financially capable at a similar or a higher degree to pay the rent, and they go through underwriting and find that they are a strong tenant or just as strong as the one in there, they cannot unreasonably withhold that person from subleasing the space. Now, if someone signed a lease that says no way on earth they can sublease in any situation, way, or form, that is a huge mistake on the attorney who helped them review that lease whenever they signed it. That is a very, very strong landlord lease. And frankly, in my opinion, it should be frowned upon, and it should not exist. Because if a business, imagine during COVID, if you had a business office space that's had 50 people and now you have 3 people in your business and you can't sublease and you just signed a brand new 7-year extension, it's just not right. So make sure you and the attorneys are always reviewing leases and that sublease provision, and make sure you fight, or the attorney fights for the client or the tenant to have unreasonably withheld in there. And that is very important. But most leases in North Carolina say that. And if they don't, then that tenant didn't have great representation, if you ask me, on the attorney side.
10-4. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, great question. Thank you for asking that.
And I've actually never come across a lease that doesn't allow for a sublease.
Okay, good to know.
I mean, I would think it's pretty rare.
I agree.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I've heard they exist, but I didn't know.
I'm sure they do for sure. Yeah.
Oh, there's people. Oh, you mean there might be people who take advantage of a situation? I don't believe it. Certainly can be, certainly is all the time. But once again, that's why we have to do a good job for our clients. And then if you do a good job for your clients and recommend a good commercial real estate attorney, like Wesley Howe, and they do their job and everyone's doing their job, then you turn out being like Mary Allison in a few years in the industry, where people come back to you, right? Because you set them up with the best commercial broker that protected them. Commercial attorney that protected them. You answered your phone. You showed them great spaces. You did a good job like Mary Allison does. And so there you go. There's a repeat client right there. And that is another secret to this industry, is it is so much easier to do 6 deals with one client over 10 years than it is to do 6 deals with 6 new clients over 10 years. It is. And then sometimes in the case of like Mary Allison, she has a fantastic national client that she, is an absolute rock star for them and everyone she works with. And she's doing 15 deals right now across the country, and that's huge, right? And of course, there's the other factor where you say, oh, well, she said herself, I don't want to have too many eggs in one basket, but that's fine. She'll go find another egg and she'll go find another basket while she has this egg and basket, so that's not a problem for her. But, it's a good problem to have, even if you do, right? Because you got one client, one central point of contact, knows how you work, respects you, working on 15 deals. I love it. But she would have never got and kept that opportunity if she wasn't great at follow up and prospecting and helping her clients get protected. And like she said, she's like, hey, I've never seen a lease that doesn't say you can't sublease, with some terms attached. Well, there you go. If she sees that in a lease draft, she's going to bring it up. If she sees that you can't sublease, she's going to bring it up. And that's what a good broker does. So yeah, a great topic. And I love leasing. I mean, I've done a lot of leases in my career. I've paid a lot of bills with leasing, a lot. And I love it. And leasing opportunities are everywhere. And you know what? Sometimes they do happen faster than sales. I'd say 60-70% of the time they can happen faster than sales. So if you're a commercial broker and you're like, I need some income, I'd go look for some leases pretty quick. And especially right now, if they're industrial leases or flex industrial leases, it could fly out the door. So yeah. What any other questions on leasing, subleasing, anything like that we can discuss? I would love to. Wes, anything on YouTube?
All good on YouTube. We've got some viewers, but no questions.
Cool. Sounds good. What other topics can we discuss? Commercial real estate, or it could be the market in general. We can talk about whatever we want, but just want to make sure we're adding value, and I hope people are seeing value in this opportunity. I see John Stefano's on. Let me tell you, John is the king of prospecting. I'm not sure if I've ever met someone who can prospect like this guy. I don't know if he can talk or not, but John, if you're on, man, I'd love for you to share some tips and tricks on prospecting. If you're on, I would, and I think people should pay to hear it, but anyway, if you're on, man, please share some tips and tricks whenever you get a chance. He might be having some problems with speaker. So, hey man, if you get a chance, jump on. Let's talk prospecting a little bit. Be awesome. I heard a pretty good one, and I've shared this with a few people. And this, you may feel like this works better for residential prospecting, but maybe not. But someone said that you should, if you're at Starbucks or somewhere, that you should offer to pay for the person in front of you's, behind you, coffee or meal. And so I went and did this at a country club where I found, like, in the room, there was a guy who was eating by himself and he looked pretty wealthy to me. And so I paid for his meal. And of course, the waitress went and told him. He came right over and he said, "Why'd you do that?" And I said, "I don't know. I just want to get to know you, man." And turns out, he's a big time real estate investor. And we talked deals, and we're going to keep the conversation going. This was pretty recent. But anyway, there's so many ways to do it. Starbucks, fast food, Chick-fil-A, country clubs, nice restaurants, coffee shops, definitely pay it forward a little bit and see what that doesn't get you. And, let's say you do it somewhere and they don't own a business and you can't really work with them on commercial real estate. If you ask one more question or two, then it could go somewhere. One is, do you know any business owners who may need my services? And then the second one is, hey, I know that, you don't own a business, but do you own a home, or are you tired of, renting? Because I can definitely refer you to the best residential agent I know, and they can help you. I think if you ask those two questions, you're going to go pretty far. And then, of course, the referral opportunity can lead to a referral fee. And that's a big deal. I've received referral fees in my career as big as $10,000. And recently I got one for like $3,000. So, you never know. But that's one secret. And one thing I want everyone to try is go somewhere and pay it forward, and make sure when they say thank you to ask a couple of questions. Are you a business owner by chance? Or do you work for a company that you think, could use my services? Or do you know any business owners, or do you own a home, or do you want to own a home? I think those are some great questions. But yeah, anyone have anything they want to share along those lines or thoughts on that?
No, but I did have a question about an objection handler.
Okay, what's up?
So I've been doing a lot of prospecting, and I've been talking to a lot of sellers and stuff, and I have a lot of people who are open to offers. So other than prospecting on my own and getting a fee agreement, what other options do I have to getting a listing? Or how should I go about to either get a listing? If that's not going to work, I guess the fee agreement is the other way. So,
Yeah, so let's talk some tips and tricks for getting listings. Okay. Yes, you're right. Right now, a lot of sellers want to sign an exclusive listing agreement. That will change, but I'm going to share some tips and tricks of things that I've done in my career. And then I know on one of these calls recently, Jabin has shared that, this has worked for him. And he, everyone has their own tips and tricks, so please chime in. But one that I have is, imagine you cold call someone with an industrial building, 70,000 square feet in Charlotte, right? Great opportunity, not going to list it. Actually bring a buyer to see it. That is huge. And trust me, in our database, you can find somebody. You just got to share, the opportunity you have with the team and see what's going on, or maybe you have in your own database. But I used to do this all the time. And there would be a for sale by owner, for lease by owner. And I'd have a few clients that always are down to go look at real estate, always. And especially investors. So I would grab an investor client, and, Pete Campbell and I did this for 3 years together, because he had just moved to Charlotte from Los Angeles. So he wanted to get to know the market, and he wanted to see everything. And so this is pretty interesting. A specific example, 1801 North Tryon Street in Charlotte. At the time, it was 190,000 square foot industrial building on 8 acres in North End. I cold call the owner. It turns out that we had the same banker, so that was nice. And then the banker kind of went in and, solidified it that they should meet me. So that helped. And they said, yeah, come on. So I went through the building. I said, I think I have a buyer. They said, no way. So I called up Pete. I said, hey, Pete, you got to check out this real estate. Next day, we're in there. We're in there for 2 hours, touring the whole property, talking to the owners. Great conversation. Pete makes an offer that week. We get under contract a couple of weeks later. And next thing you know, because of one tour, I look like, I'm the best thing since sliced bread. I didn't expect it to go that way, but it did. Well, we went under contract. It fell apart. And I sat in their office, the sellers, and I said, I'm sorry, that fell apart. But look what I did off market. Imagine what I could do if I listed this across the country on all our platforms, all of our networks, and it was fair game. And they actually that week gave me the exclusive listing, and I ended up selling it to Artesia. And I know I sold it to them for 8.8 million. I'm pretty sure Pete had it under contract for 7.7 million, maybe 7.8. So I got them almost $1 million more on the open market, almost $1 million more on the open market. And so then they said, heck, if you can do that, you can sell Montana Flex Park, you can sell a few other of our properties. So a big secret I've always had in the industry is don't just do what everyone else is doing and sit around and beg for a listing over the phone. Don't do that. That's sad and no way to live your life. Grab somebody and take them. Well, first go by yourself and go and look at the property, shake their hand, look them in the eyes, build some trust. Then call up any client on earth, anyone you know, and say, let's go look at this property, might be a good fit for you. Great. Walk through the building with the buyer. They leave and look at the seller or landlord, say, listen, I did that in one phone call. Imagine what I could do if I exclusively listed your property. I've already proved I'm going to work hard. I've already proved I know what I'm doing. I've already proved that I've got what it takes to make this happen. I need the exclusive listing because I could do a lot more damage and I could make you a lot more money. That is a very compelling conversation. And, it's proving yourself before just begging for an opportunity like everyone does right now, from their boxers in their living room. Get out there and make it happen.
I like that.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks, man.
Anyone else have any tricks for listings?
We've got, one quick thing from YouTube. Josh Campbell said, to go off what Clifford was saying, I think it's just important to get out in front of people and network. So
I was going to say one thing. If I could chime in here for a second.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Josh.
Off market is the market. That's it. That's all I got. When it comes to sales, off market is the market. A lot of these guys that are holding on to, anywhere from $5 to $10 million pieces of property. They're a lot more sophisticated than your average bear. And a lot of them just will not. They've got people already bringing offers to them. They know what the property's worth. A lot of them just will not do a listing agreement unless they're a real serious seller. So to be honest with you, I was chasing down a deal. I think it was this in the middle of winter, and the woman I was trying to convince to sell specifically to me. She said, well, I looked you up online. I didn't see any listings. I said, well, that's because I don't do listings. I try to keep everything that I'm doing private and not let anyone in on, what I'm doing. And maybe that sounded like bullshit to her, but it was honestly the truth. I don't know. I've been in business for a long time, and when I'm making a lot of money, I typically don't like to tell people how I'm making it. So, but it's very like Cliff. One of the first things Cliff said, if you want to, when I got started in brokerage, was if you want to get him started in the investment sales side, just bring offers to sellers. And fortunately, we're in a seller's market right now. So if you have buyers and you're bringing them offers and you're staying in front of them, you may not get a listing, but you'll eventually get a transaction. I've had, maybe 80% of the time, I get transactions, but I don't get listings. And I don't know, that's a sweet spot for me. I just transitioned over to, now I'm working my local market here in Denver. And so one of the first things I started doing was I started getting on the phone with, I do pretty much exclusively infill in urban areas now. And I got on the phone with all the multifamily apartment developers that are active in my market. So I go on CoStar, I look at deal makers and see who the most active participants are in my market. And I called them up and introduced myself, said I'm I'm new to the market, don't know a lot about it. If you could sit down with me for 30 minutes and let's have a chat about what you're doing in the local Denver market. And these are guys that have, I mean, they're doing billions of dollars of deals in deals a year. And they were all too enthusiastic to get on the phone with me, talk about what they need, and they all need a guy who's gonna turn up stones for them. And those guys are just they're so happy and so enthusiastic just to be dealing with you. So when I call my landowners now, or maybe somebody sitting on covered land, I say, hey, look, I work with the largest multifamily developers in the country, and we're always looking for land. And those guys are like, oh wow, this guy's connected, he's connected. And yeah, so that's just kind of that's how it works for me. Like, again, like, I'm not a big listings guy, but I do transactions. I've got a decent amount of transactions that's closed this year. And for me, off market is the market.
I freaking love that, man. Thank you.
No problem.
Like I said, y'all, John Stefano has done more off-market deals than anyone I've seen in a very short amount of time. I mean, he, and he's right. It is great to get exclusive listings. It's great to get your name out there. It's great to get a sign out. It's definitely necessary. And John's definitely had his name on signs and stuff. But at the moment, if you want to get really into the details of this market that we are in, that is very hard to get listings, pocket listings or off-market listings, whatever you want to call it, that is how you provide value to clients. And that's how you provide value to the markets, is knowing something no one else does. So some people ask me, they go, Clifford, so many people reach out to you every week and you give leads to brokers in the firm, or you have all this opportunity. And it's because I became known as someone who always knows about a deal. Always. So if someone calls me and I feel like I have a reason to trust them, and like them, I'll go, hey, how's the 30,000 square foot deal, in South Charlotte look? And they're like, well, tell me more details. I mean, probably going to trade about a 6 cap value add, pro forma is probably about 8 cap. If we raise rents and we turn everything triple net, what do you think? I love that deal. Okay, great. We'll sign this non-exclusive buyer agency agreement that you'll pay me 3% commission if you buy it, so I can protect myself, and we'll go look at it. I mean, that right there, that conversation is a good one. That's a good conversation to have right there. And why do I have those opportunities? Why? Because like Josh Campbell said, and John, I'm getting out there. I'm putting my face out there, my name. I'm shaking hands. I'm providing value. I'm driving around. I'm mailing letters with a personalized stamp like Jeff does. I'm following up. I mean, it's easy when you're active. But, if you work in this industry 1 or 2 hours a day, and you stay, in your gym shorts all day, and you just make some calls here and there, and you wait for the phone to ring, you're probably not going to have too many off-market opportunities. And truly, John is right. The market right now is off market. If someone doesn't know what that means, you can ask us, but basically a lot of deals are trading without being listed on LoopNet right now. A lot. You look at the Business Journal, if you look at CoStar and the deals that are closing, a lot of things are trading that are not listed right now. A lot. So how do you get your hands on that? The shotgun approach, baby. Look people in the eyes, cold call, email, door knock, network, drive the market for lease by owner signs, for sell by owner signs. Just get out there. Seriously. And even if it's a weekend and, you look at your significant other and say, hey, let's go for 30 minutes. Let's just drive around South End. Just drive around. And I want you to take pictures of empty buildings and signs for sell by owner signs, for lease by owner signs. I just need you to do that for 30 minutes. You did that once every month, you'd kill it. Seriously. And you go back and research who owns those buildings. You call those numbers, you know, on those crappy signs that are falling apart all over the place. I think you'll do pretty well.
Hey, Cliff, can I add one thing in here?
Please. Yes.
Like when you're calling and prospecting, you never want to go in, like you make a phone call and you say, hey, look, like, you know, my name's John. I'm, you know, local EXP commercial broker. You know, I deal with a handful of these particular buyers, and we're looking for properties like this. You know, you never want to go into a call empty-handed. You always want to have an offer. You always want to have buyers that you can introduce them to. You always want to, even at the beginning of the call, you always want to have something for them that's of interest to them. And money is more interesting than than anything. It'll get most people's ears perked up. So you know, you want to go in and you want to offer them something attractive to them. So if you're, you know, I have a buyer who's paying top dollar, you'll get their attention.
I love it. I love it, man. You're dangling that nice shiny carrot.
Yeah, it's sales, right?
That's right.
Except
That's
we're
right.
buying.
Telling you, money talks, BS walks. I love it. Thank you, John. I appreciate everybody on this call and your input. It means the world. This is how we get deals done. This is how we motivate each other. I hope you all are motivated to get out there today. I mean, there's no excuses. I mean, literally, I mean, unless you're bedridden because of, you know, some illness or you broke your legs over the weekend, you know, there's no excuse not to get out there. None. I mean, you can say gas is an excuse. Okay, well, we'll drive your market within 3 miles of your home. You know, there's just no excuses. So please get out there, you know, shake some bushes, meet some people, look them in the eyes, ask the right questions, ask for the right people, and you can't lose. You literally can't lose if you do that. Before we jump off here, Wes, is there anything on YouTube? And does anyone else have anything to add in any way, shape, or form?
You're all good on this end.
All right. Well, hey, I love you all like family. I hope you have a wonderful week. Please be motivated to go out there and do some things to create income for you and your families and your goals. If you need me, I'm always here. Cell phone number is 919-356-3453. And I'm looking forward to working with all of you on deals this year and reach our goals. It's Q2. So go get it. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, Cliff.
Thanks,
y'all.
Everybody.